channel, Edible Thoughts Makes. My name is Stephanie, and this channel is where I share with you my works in progress, finished projects, things I'm cooking up, books I'm reading, funny things my kids may say. My hope is that as you watch this episode and the previous episodes that you find some inspiration along the way. It is the very end of August, year 2024, and yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it? So hopefully you will have seen a little bit of footage from our garden just inserted here. And yeah, it has been a really wet summer. Compared to last summer where we had a drought, we've had tons of rain this summer, and which also brought in a lot of mosquitoes and a lot of slugs. So the slugs have eaten up a lot of our flowers and our vegetables and just have been pretty destructive, which has impacted the harvest and things growing, but it has still been a lovely garden season. I have some flowers here. Our hydrangea has turned from white to, I think it went to pale pink, and then this green and this darker mauvey reddish pink color. It is just beautiful and delightful, and I love it, and it is enormous. I believe this is the third year. Is it the third year since we've planted this one? I can't remember, but it has just taken off and I'm so excited, and I think I might want to move some other things around in that particular garden space, and maybe in a different area and put this up. I don't know, we'll see, but I would love maybe to try a few more of these because they have just taken off and done so well. I believe it's like 4 or 5 feet tall, and yeah, and it's only the third year, and we started it from like a teeny tiny plant. So very excited, so in love with these colors. It is just beautiful. I hope it's focusing here. Oh, it is stunning. The plants that have gotten kind of eaten by slugs are zinnias. So our patch of zinnias has not been as plentiful this year. A lot of the leaves are just completely eaten up, and they seemed to do a little better when it was dry for maybe a week, but then once it poured again, all the slugs came out and were just demolishing our zinnias. But I just love these colors. We have various shades of pink, fuchsia, orange, and red. I don't know if there's any red ones in this one. No, I think this one's mostly pink. Shades of pink and orange. I love how vibrant they are. They just add such a beautiful splash of color to any room, and the more you cut these, the more they bloom. I believe it's at every cut point 2 more come out, and so they're just a really great flower to keep cutting. They do come in different varieties and sizes, so there are the shorter ones, and then we tend to plant the longer ones that get to be, I want to say 5 feet tall, maybe 4 or 5 feet tall, but they are so much fun to plant and grow and cut and gift. So I'll save a lot of jars from different things, and we would just take off the label, and we can use them to gift bouquets to neighbors and friends, and then you don't have to worry about getting your vase back. And so this is just a really fun and beautiful way to bring a little bit of color to your everyday life. I think that I did not quite mention yet some of the, I don't know if logistics is the right word, but some of the, I don't know, administrative just sounds way too formal for me here in this creative space, but I do want to mention that I include closed captioning on all of my videos here on YouTube. You click on that CC button. If I speak fast or slow for your preferences, YouTube also allows you to adjust the speed, and I do have notes below the video. Sometimes you have to click on show more or an arrow. The things change sometimes, but the information is there. And I do use Ravelry for all of my knit and crochet projects. Ravelry is not set up for sewing items, and so none of those will be on there. And I do sew, crochet, and knit. And so the links for those are noted separately. So if Ravelry is not accessible to you, then you know where not to click. But I do include the websites to designers when possible, and so if you want to look up a pattern that you are interested in, you can always go to that designer's website. As a human being, I do make mistakes and sometimes say things maybe that aren't correct for pattern or yarn or whatever the case may be. I do try to include text on the screen when possible, or when I remember, or when I am able to correct myself, but I miss things, and so sometimes those will also be in the description box below this video. It has been about, I think, 9 or 10 weeks since the last time I uploaded a video here on YouTube. It has been a plentiful summer with my family. I don't think I mentioned I live in Minnesota with my husband and our 2 children, and it isn't necessarily like busy. I don't like that feeling of being busy all the time. I think we just really enjoyed our summer. Our kids did have some day camp things that they were busy with, and so we had that, but then we had some travel, and then we just had some days where we spent all day in pajamas, and that was wonderful. And there was gardening and being outside and going to the lake beach, and yeah, it has just been a really good summer. Our school year doesn't start until the day after Labor Day, which I believe is September 3rd this year. I don't remember exactly. I think so, but it's on a Tuesday, and so we are wrapping up summer here. It is almost the start of the school year. It has been a very exciting week because we have had open houses for both of the kids' schools and gathering all the school supplies to drop off and meeting the teachers. And so yeah, it has been really good. We are excited for a new school year. The kids will be at 2 different schools this year because I will have a middle schooler. And yeah, so I'll have a 3rd grader and a 6th grader, and that's very exciting. So our routines are going to change a bit this year, just needing to adapt to the different times of schools starting and the different times they end, and then after school activities, and just fitting everything onto that calendar to make sure that I can still get to 2 places, hopefully not at the same time. And yeah, so just juggling all of that. I am excited for it though. Maybe some of you can relate to that kind of Tetrising of schedules and the excitement of the start of a school year. So I mentioned that it has been a bit since we last sat down and chatted. I want to say it was the end of June, and so summer had just started, and I have made a lot of things this summer. It has been really fun. I have knit a lot of things, working on one crochet and knit item. I've sewn a ton of things. I was really inspired to sew a bunch of mix and match combinations. So although I guess some are dresses, and then I have tops and bottoms, and some of them kind of go together and mix and match. A lot of things can be worn with my knitwear, which is very exciting, and that has been a really fun piece to play with. I feel like this summer is figuring out ways that things can mix and match and go together. So it's not just set in specifically one outfit or one way to wear it, or not, or even like one season. And so I have found that really, really fun and satisfying. I was trying to figure out what would be the best way for me to organize this video and maybe the videos to come, just because there are so many things to share with you, to catch up on, that I just don't want it to be overwhelming for myself or for you. And I think I just needed to sit down and jump in and just start and hit record and just go with it. So that is what I'm doing. And I think maybe one way for me to split this up is try to record weekly for a little bit until I have things all caught up. So maybe I do just finished projects and not even all of them one week, and then continue finished projects the next week and possibly even the next week before jumping into a format where I have the finished projects, works in progress. I usually have like an eats and reads section on things I've been baking, cooking, reading, and then a food for thought section, which is something that has been on my mind, on my heart, something I want to share. Usually has some way related to making, but not necessarily. It's just something life related. And for me, making is an everyday thing, so it's just a big part of my life. And maybe you can relate with that as well. So that's where we're going with this, kind of all over the place, but I wanted to give you an idea of what you're in for, maybe for this video. And I think I listed for myself the finished projects I have, and as far as knitting goes, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, I don't even remember, and maybe equally number of sewn items. And yeah, we'll just see what we get to today and then save the rest for another day. Alrighty, finished projects. Let's start with what I am wearing. I am wearing an entire me-made outfit. I think what's going to work best is if I stand behind this bench that I'm sitting on so you can get a better view, or I might have to stand on the bench. We'll figure it out. But the one thing I'm wearing that I did not make are these earrings. And these are by a local artist here in Minnesota. They are enamel, and maybe I can get up a little closer, hopefully, that you can see them. They are absolutely beautiful. They are red with multicolored bits on them, and I just love it. I don't think they're showing up really well. I will have a link to Anne's website in the description box below this video. Her tagline thing is that life is too short to wear boring earrings or something along those lines, and I totally agree. What I am wearing today is I have this set here. The top is an orchard top, and I have a whole video on this orchard top. It is a free pattern from Helen's Closet, and let me hop over here. And then I have a matching set on the bottom, which are also by Helen's Closet. This is a paid for pattern. They are the June pants. They come in various views. You can make like a tulip short option. You can make regular shorts options, capri length, full length, whatever you want. You can have pockets or no pockets. I chose the pocket option. The pockets are anchored to the waistband, which means they don't flop around everywhere. And they are inseam pockets. The pattern I have here is like a navy daisy cotton stretch, slight stretch. I can't remember how much spandex is in there. I want to say like 5% or something. I bought this at Joann Fabrics. When I tried to go back to look for more, I did not find any, unfortunately, and I just really like it. It washes really well. I've put it in the washing machine, cold wash, put it in the dryer. I usually do tumble dry low if I'm drying anything. And then I did end up ironing it a bit just so the pockets lay flat, but it wasn't like super bunched up or super scrunchy or wrinkly. And so that was really nice, and it didn't shrink a whole lot more. I mean, I pre-washed it before I sewed it too, but just on subsequent washing, it did not shrink a ton more. And I have worn this several times this summer, either as a set or not. I've worn it with a jean jacket, I've worn it with a sweater, and I just really like it. It is so comfortable, and it's kind of like wearing secret pajamas out, because this set I have made as a set of pajamas in different fabric, and I find it really comfortable. So I did adjust the straps. My straps are a little bit wider and a little bit shorter, and I think I did size 4 based on recommendations, but yeah, I just had to adjust the strap length, and then I wanted the straps a little bit wider so that if I was wearing it on its own, I didn't feel like they were like thin spaghetti straps. So maybe they're more like linguine straps, fettuccine straps. I don't really know what I'm talking about. They are slightly wider, and I just really like it. And I want to say the length on top is maybe between the cropped and the full length, but because I also shortened the straps, they're a little bit shorter, but the pants, the elastic waist, it's high-waisted, and I did shorten the rise just a little bit because I felt like the back was giving me a weird bump, and so now it lays flat in the back. But yeah, I love it. And what I am wearing with it today is this beautiful cardigan. I had been wanting more V-neck cardigans. I feel like V-necks just lay better for me, and I don't have like a flappy part on top with some crew neck cardigans. I feel like with crew neck cardigans, you either have to button all the way to the top and then it feels too hot, or you don't have it buttoned all the way to the top and the top like flaps around. If I have like a flannel or denim button-up shirt underneath, the collar of that will kind of hold it down a little so it doesn't bother me, but otherwise I feel like I have to have it buttoned all the way up or not buttoned at all, and I don't know, it just bothers me. But a V-neck cardigan lays nice and flat whether it's open or buttoned up, and oops, that's the wrong buttonhole. I feel like the way to button things up is not from the top to the bottom, but from the bottom to the top. That way you don't get all the way done and then realize that you're off. But anyway, side note. This is a modified Northwoods V-neck by Jessie Made Designs. I turned it into a cardigan. My friend Naughty Ginger on Instagram, she had made a cardigan, and I thought I want to try that too. So basically, when you get to the V-neck portion where you would typically join, because it's top down, just don't join and keep knitting flat because there are no more increases. If you wanted, I suppose, to make more of an A-line shaping, you could add increases on the sides, but I just knit it straight. And I did my striping different. I wanted mostly solid with just some 2-row striping here. It is a, I think, DK weight pattern, and I should pull up my notes. I'm a little rusty. I haven't done this in a while, and I'm just flying by the seat of my pants, and apparently I'm just missing all the details. So all the details can be found on my Ravelry project page, which is linked in the description box below this video, but I like to include all those details, if not more, here on YouTube just to keep that information accessible and another way of learning. And so let's see. I did size 1, which is a finished circumference of 36 inches, but then because I have this button band, it adds another inch, and so I end up closer to 37 inches, give or take how you block it, which gives me 5 inches of positive ease in the chest circumference, which gives me like 2 inches of positive ease around my hips, and I did make it full length, and so I really like how it turned out. It is basically at like top of pocket length, which is perfect because then you don't get any bunchiness when you're putting your hands in your pockets or like searching for the pockets, but it's not so short that I can't just wear it with regular pants as well. I have just worn it with jeans, and it's really comfortable that way. And I did add a little bit of flair here with my scalloped edging. That is crocheted. The knit fabric part is done on US 7s, and then the ribbing is done on US 5s. And at this moment, I cannot remember what the millimeter is for that, but I will put it here on the screen. And for the crochet hook, I used a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. And I'm gonna get a little closer up so hopefully you can see that edging. And if it doesn't show very well, I will insert a photo. But I really loved how it turned out. I just felt like it needed a little bit of something. Well, not needed. I wanted a little bit of something. And then the wooden buttons are made by my husband, and he did a really great job. They look lovely. They are made from a stick in our yard. I don't remember if these are birch or buckthorn. He's made them from both. Basically, he looks for a stick that's approximately the right diameter that I'm looking for, a little bit bigger, because then he takes the bark off. He has to cut them, sand them, stain them, or seal them, depending on what color I'm looking for, and then drill holes. And then we measure my yarn needle, millimeter diameter, And then depending on the yarn that I'm using, which might be thicker, you gotta add a little more room so that both can go through. And that's how we decide on the holes. And I'm getting a little bit warm here. I'm gonna unbutton that. Whew. Okay, so the yarn that I used, let's see if I have a tag here. I do. It is Purl Soho Plein Air. It is 67% wool, the 67% wool, 33% organically grown cotton. And again, hopefully it's focusing. I haven't done this in a while. It comes in 218 yards for 100 grams. It is a hand wash, cold, lay flat to dry yarn. And I really like it for a cotton wool blend. I find it easy to knit with. It's very round, it's very soft, it has great stitch definition, and this is my third or fourth garment knit with this yarn, and I really, really like it. I will say that when I've worn it with a backpack that had a little bit of a rougher mesh backing to the backpack, it rubbed in the back, and then it did end up pilling some in the middle. But again, that's wearing that backpack the entire day. It had a rougher mesh backing, which meant more friction. I don't think it would do the same with like a very smooth backpack. I don't know. I have also worn it with like a crossbody bag, and I didn't notice a bunch of pilling or friction from that. So I think that rough mesh just really did a number on it. However, since then I have washed it, and I don't think, I mean, I pulled off a lot of the pilling, but I don't think it's very noticeable. And so it didn't affect the fabric that much. Here's the back. I'm gonna hold it up a little closer. Maybe you can see the pilling, but I don't really mind it too much. It isn't that I do mind if fabric pills really easily, because essentially then I'm like wearing away the fabric, and I don't want it to look super worn. However, I do expect a fabric that's softer to pill more easily. And so this, I feel like, did go through the test without falling apart. So that's good. I wear my makes all the time, and so they have to withstand everyday wear. They're not going to be treated super precious. I mean, I'm not going to throw them in the mud, but I am going to wear them. And so, yeah, you can tell a little bit, but I think it did okay. All right, back to the yarn. The colors I used. The main gray color here is, oh my goodness, is Pencil Mark. And it's definitely this like graphite gray color. And then this dark bright blue. That's an oxymoron, dark bright blue. It's darker, but it's a vibrant blue, is Dungarees blue. And then this softer mauvey pink is Pink Dusk. And then this deep teal is Teal Verdigris. Oh, I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of these things right. They all sound weird out of my mouth right now. I'm not sure why. And then this like beigey taupe color is Rolled Oat. And I used approximately 7 grams in total of each of these colors. I did 2 row stripes, and then in between I had 6 rows of the main color. And I did have to do a little bit of math when I was figuring out my row gauge, and then how long I wanted the body to be, not including the ribbing, and then figure out my striping sequence and how many rows I was going to space everything out. And I did choose the color sequence intentionally because I wanted the darker ones and the lighter ones to offset each other so nothing looked like it clumped. And so I have one that's slightly darker, slightly brighter or more contrast, so low contrast, high contrast, low contrast, high contrast. So that's how I divvied up the color striping. So yes, I'm very pleased with how this turned out, and it is very comfortable. I did do a tapered sleeve, and I like my full-length sleeves to cover my wrists. Otherwise, I suppose it's bracelet length, and then if you keep going up, then it's 3/4 length. And I do feel like, I've talked about this in previous episodes, but I do feel like elbows eat up some fabric. So I always knit an extra inch. Well, not always. I tend to knit an extra inch just to give some leeway in that. Otherwise, sometimes after you bend for a while, they end up shrinking, and then that bothers me. So anyway, I really love how this turned out. I feel like it's a neutral that kind of goes with a lot of things because I have both cool, neutral, and warm colors in the striping. And then the gray color I feel like is cooler, but my buttons are warmer. And so it's a good combination of both that is easy to pair with a lot of things. So yeah, in total, how much yarn did I end up using? Of the gray, I think I used about 350 grams. 350 grams, and then the total in the contrast colors is 28 grams. And yeah, I really love how this turned out. I can definitely see doing this modification on this pattern again. The V-neck just sits really nicely, and I suppose if I wanted a thicker button band, I could do that. I was thinking even if I did a cropped version, so take off maybe even 4 inches of this length so that it hits right on the top of my hip bone, and then I could do like a longer ribbing if I wanted to. I don't know. Lots and lots of options. All right, the next project I'm going to talk about is this campus vest. This is a pattern by Amy Sher, and it was more recently released, and I really like how it turned out. I feel like it's the woolly academic version of like a zipper puffer vest, which I'll often wear in the fall and winter and even spring. And it's just an easy layer to put on over a flannel, a denim button up, really anything. And it's great for hiking, it's great for going out to the garden, it's really great for anything. And so I feel like this is almost like a dressier version, dressy but casual, maybe, I don't know, casual but not sloppy, I guess. Not that the puffer vest is sloppy. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I just really, really like it. I would not wear it like this because then I feel like it's a weird hot cold situation, and I wouldn't be wearing a wool vest if I wanted to go sleeveless. That's just me, not my thing. But for the sake of not having to put on a bunch of different outfits, I'm just putting it on over the one I'm wearing right now. Let me find my page on this. Oh, you know what? It might not be in this project notebook because I had to switch out notebooks at one point because I ran out on the other one and I don't have it. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with my notes. So this is a project that I did in May and June. I did the first size, which gives a finished circumference, well, supposed to give a finished circumference of 32.25 inches, but my gauge ended up different. So this yarn is Harrisville Designs Daylights in the colorway Caffeine, and it is a woolen spun yarn that blooms a lot. And I'm going to come a little closer. So this Daylights line of yarn has dustings of different colors. So the Caffeine one has dustings of brown. It's a beautiful neutral. It's like a creamy color with a little bit of brown in it. And I've always wanted to try out this yarn. It's American Cornwall wool, comes in 250 yards for 100 grams, and it is labeled as a DK weight yarn, but it does bloom beautifully. I feel like you could use it in a worsted weight gauge and not have it be too holey. It just blocks out to be a really nice, beautiful fabric. Now the gauge is supposed to be at 22 stitches by 28 rounds. I ended up at 20 stitches, which you wouldn't think 2 stitches would be a huge difference in 4 inches, but it makes a big difference overall. So instead of having 0 ease, I do have a little bit of positive ease, and it's perfect for layering. I really do like it. I did view A, and I did it, view A is cropped, so it hits right above my hip bones, and I ended up using 100 168 grams, which comes out to 420 yards. And that View A size A estimates 620 yards. So if you used a yarn that didn't bloom as much and maybe stuck to the gauge, you would probably end up using a closer yardage to what the pattern estimates, but with this yarn, it just didn't work out that way. I did swatch, but yeah, a swatch is a teeny bit of fabric compared to an entire garment. So here we are. I also have buttons here made by my husband, and I just really like how this piece turned out. I feel like it is such an easy one to layer. I have it paired, well, for my finished project photos, I have it paired with like a light wash denim button-up shirt and bright green pants that I had sewn. Those pants might make an appearance here in a bit. I might have to do a complete outfit change. We will see. But I really like how this turned out. The testers did a whole bunch of different versions of it. So there are longer ones. I think someone did a striped one. There are fuzzy ones, and they have modeled it in various different ways, so it's really fun to check that out. If Ravelry is accessible to you, just check out the Campus Vest by Amy Sure Makes. Otherwise, Amy also has a website with pictures on there from the testers. And if you are on Instagram, you can also check out the hashtag Campus Vest. One more thing I forgot to note is this yarn smells really good. I can't tell you what it is, but there's just some scent to it that smells amazing, and it was really nice to work with. It is a drier, woollier feeling yarn. It is very round. I feel like it has really nice stitch definition, as can be noticed here in the neckline area. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is knit bottom up. So you do start with the ribbing and then work your way up. Because it is a cardigan vest style, it is all knit flat. And yeah, oh, I should probably turn around so you can see the back as well. I feel like it lays really nicely. Maybe I need to bend down to see the back of the neck. I feel like the ribbing here lays nice and flat, and it just is shaped very thoughtfully and very nicely along the shoulders. You can also adjust that part as you want. So if you want the armhole smaller, pick up less stitches, maybe use a smaller needle size. If you want it bigger, go the opposite way. And because you're picking up stitches to knit the ribbing, you can just rip it out and redo it as many times as you need to if something doesn't work out right. Another thing to mention is because this yarn is non-superwash, it is very easy to wet splice the ends together. So if you are using more than one hank of yarn, it is so easy to wet splice the ends, the start and the end together, so that you have one less end to weave in. And that is pretty nice. All right. Complete outfit change. I am so excited about this one. Okay, I'm excited about all of them. If you've been here for a while, you know that I find a lot of excitement in color pairings, in project pairings, in yarn pairings, and all of that. And this is something that is just so much fun. I think this was in the previous episode. I don't really quite remember, but this is the Mini Mock Neck Tank by Jessie Made Designs, and this is my third one, I believe. Yes, I think so. I knit this one in June and July of this summer, and I cast on the small size, and I don't remember what that finished circumference is, but I think, if I remember correctly, I believe it's around 27 or 28 inches. This is a pattern that is meant to have negative ease. It is knit from the top down. And what I have learned, having this be my third one, is that because my row gauge is different, it actually works in my favor, because I find the armhole depth otherwise a little bit too deep. The row, I think the round or row gauge for the pattern is 28 and mine is 32. I feel like I'm pretty consistent with a US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needle, that if I'm knitting with fingering weight yarn, I have 24 stitches by 32 rows. And again, because the armhole depth is otherwise a little too low for my liking, for my preferences, and there isn't quite an easy way to just cinch it up because you're doing the edgings as you go, it works out for me for my row gauge to be different. So this one I used Republica Unicornia yarn. This is the Targhee sock base. 90% superwash US Targhee wool, 10% nylon. It comes in 115 grams for 465 yards. This colorway is Heart of Glass. And I love how it turned out. I used up, I think, all but less than a gram left, so that is pretty awesome. That is also something I really like about knitting top-down garments, is that I can just knit until the yarn runs out if I know I'm going to need pretty much every yard. And that's what I did here. And so, I'm gonna maybe stand up a little bit. I knit mine longer than the pattern because I don't like things super cropped unless there's a purpose for it to be super cropped. And I did my neckline slightly different. It's more of a crew neck. I used, I think, instead of 2 needle sizes down, I just did 1 needle size down, and I tried to bind off a little bit looser because I don't like a super tight neckline. I find this Targhee base yarn very bouncy. It fills in the gaps really nicely, so it isn't a super holey fabric. I feel like if I'm going to knit this again, I'm going to try it in a sport weight yarn. Keep the same needle size, but sport weight yarn. And I feel like because it's negative ease, you end up stretching the fabric. So if I don't want it to come out wholly, I'm going to want a denser fabric. So I'm going to try that next time. We'll see how it goes. But I really like how this turned out. I feel like the armhole depth is not too deep. It covers bra straps. I don't see it on the side, and I feel very comfortable wearing it. This is something that I intend to wear as a layering piece because a wool tank top doesn't really work for me. I just get too hot, and then it feels weird having like my core super hot, but my arm is exposed, and if I'm planning on wearing it in warmer weather, it's just too hot. But as a layering piece underneath something, that works totally fine. So like underneath a linen shirt, underneath a denim shirt, something like that works very well. Here I have it paired with some really fun pants. I'm gonna go behind this bench so you can see it better. These are bright green linen pants. It is once again the June pants pattern by Helen's Closet. I have the pockets here, and it's a wide leg pant. The green, I've always wanted a pair of Kelly green pants. This is a little bit brighter than Kelly green. It kind of goes a little more neon green, but I think it goes really well with this tank top because there are specks of neon throughout in this, and it's just really fun. I could tuck the front in, I think, if I wanted to. I don't think I've worn it like that, but I could do that. I could tuck it all the way in. Let's see how that works. That's probably okay too, right? I don't know. Can't really see myself, so I don't really know, but I think it's okay. And yeah, it is just a super comfortable and fun outfit to wear. I think this will be really nice in the spring when it's like 50, 60 degrees. Put on that jean jacket and you're good to go. And yes, I did have to change out my earrings so that they would match with my outfit. These are also made by Anne. Again, her link is in the description box below this video. I love these colors together. I feel like it's something that's really fun to wear with multiple different things that just need a little splash of color. And yeah, hopefully it's showing up here. I think that is all I have to say about this one. Yeah, I used up all the yarn that I had. I started at 122.39 grams and I used 121.63 grams. So I had 0.76 grams remaining. I think that's pretty good. Okay, my friends. I think that's where we are going to end it today. I do have more finished projects to share with you. I think 4 or more maybe. In the efforts of not overwhelming myself in future Stephanie editing mode, we are going to end it here. And hopefully I will be back again next week to finish this pile of finished projects that I would love to share with you. And yeah, we'll just go from there. So I hope you are doing really well, taking good care of yourselves, your loved ones, and your neighbors. Cheers to being creative, and I will talk to you next time.